So hi, I'm Alan Thornton, CEO of the Rescue Mission, and I'm here today at Eastern Hills Bible Church with Kathy Shriver. We are so excited because just this past weekend, we were blessed by Eastern Hills with an amazing gift, $143,303 that's going to be used for a very specific project. And I'm here today so that Kathy can tell us a little bit about the project and why Eastern Hills was so excited about it. So Kathy, thank you for talking today. Tell me a little bit about this whole thing of the big give and kind of how did it come about to be?
Well, our church for probably about 5 years has always taken the Christmas season and given a large offering. We've usually taken it up in both the months of November and December. We've collected it for clean water wells in Africa with some of our partners there. One year we worked with World Vision and we addressed the famine relief in the Horn of Africa.
Okay.
And just last year we worked with International Justice Mission on human trafficking. So we have a history of doing that.
That's tremendous.
But this year we wanted to do something a little bit different and kind of focus it in on one day and ask a different question. So we ask our folks to make your Christmas list, and whatever your biggest gift cost, give a little bit more and give it away and give it to the Rescue Mission this year.
So let me stop right there, because if you think about that for a second, how turnkey and how easy is that? They came up with a simple ask. Whatever you're spending on that largest gift, up it a little bit and give that amount to the Rescue Mission for this project. I think that was genius. I just think it makes it so easy for people, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. And we also talked about, through the month of December, not just about giving your biggest gift away, but we also talked about that we're all rich. Especially when you look at globally, we are very rich, and the problems we have, they're rich people problems. And so we wanted to look at the scriptures and see that it really tells us to be good at being rich.
Okay.
So we wanted to be good at being rich.
Good. Okay, and so you had shared with me that even prior to the start of this series and this thinking, that you were engaging the members of the church here in listening groups. Can you talk a little bit more about that and why were you doing that?
So we started back in the summer as a leadership team here at the church talking about what are our plans for the next 10 years. And as a leadership team, you have plans and you have things that you think you want to do, but we really wanted to listen to the people, and we felt like there were things that would bubble up from among our congregation that God would be speaking to them just like he was speaking to us, and so we wanted to listen. So through the month of November, we got people in small groups and we asked them some simple questions, and the one most telling was, what if Eastern Hills was making the most significant impact possible? What would happen 10 years from now?
Okay.
What would our community look like?
So people were really visioning, what could we do?
Yes.
What kind of impact could we have over the course of a decade if we really focused together?
Right. So they were dreaming of what the future might
awesome.
look like.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they were thinking outside of the walls of the church very
Absolutely.
clearly.
Yes,
right?
they were. Some inside the church, but some outside the church. And what impact could it make in my own family, in my own neighborhood, and then Syracuse, Central New York, the whole region? How would it look different?
Now, you landed specifically on the issue of homelessness, and you picked the Rescue Mission. How did that come about, those two kind of decisions?
Well, can I read you a couple of the...
Please do.
Okay, so these were some of the dreams
Yeah.
that came from our people. So we asked that question, what if we were making the most significant impact? And so these were just some of the answers that people wrote down. They said, well, what if we were a community of generosity? So they were already thinking that way. What if there was less homelessness? What if we can be more effective locally in addressing real-life problems, crime, poverty, again, homelessness?
Wow.
That the idea of loving would be contagious and cause our community to be known by its generosity. What if giving was at an all-time high for charitable organizations? They said, what if we had a closer working relationship with other nonprofits? So you began to hear some themes there. And then one person wrote, what if we supported with both money and workers ministries like the Rescue Mission? So they called it out. What if we helped others in the community that aren't as fortunate? What if the homeless would have a safe place to sleep every night? And what if money would be coming in, allowing us to do more? And then this is really one of my favorites. It says, what if the name of Eastern Hills would be known far and wide as a church that makes a difference on behalf of others? So as we kind of looked at some of those themes, it really became apparent that people were saying, could you partner with something that's already going on out there?
Right.
And homelessness was really something that it was on their heart.
That's
So-
tremendous. And so you got the feedback from the members, sorted it all out, and then grabbed this issue of homelessness in partnership with the Rescue Mission, and then linked it to this whole series about giving and about being good at being rich.
Right.
And then that built up to a special offering that took place on Christmas Eve.
Right.
And so what was that like? I mean, first of all, how much did you hope you were going to raise?
When we first started talking about this, the project that we chose was $100,000, and to be honest, I never thought we would get there.
Huge number.
Huge number. We had, in these other initiatives that we've done over the last 5 years, we'd raised anywhere from $55,000 to $80,000 at the most, and that was partnering with some other churches.
And that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. So $100,000, I thought, if we can get to half, we would be doing pretty well.
Right.
So that's kind of what we were aiming at. And this year we decided we would take up an offering during our Christmas Eve services. So we would funnel all of the giving to that one night, which we had never done before.
Okay.
We'd never taken up an offering.
Okay.
And so that was a little bit iffy for us as well,
Okay.
taking a little bit of a risk.
And the members knew specifically what the project was that the money was going to be supporting. So it wasn't just a nebulous kind of, hey, we're going to give it to the
Right.
Rescue Mission. We had talked about specifically the Niagara Street project, and maybe speak to what about the Niagara Street project did you like? Like, what did you feel was going to be really attractive and something that the members would rally around?
With the Niagara Street project, being able to see that we were not just helping on the front end, getting somebody off the street, getting them a meal, maybe a night in a bed in the shelter, but this was, after they had kind of gone through the mission, gone through some of the programs, it was really helping them take a big step towards eventually home ownership themselves, having a place, having a home that they could call their own. And for me, as the missions person, it really helped identify what is development. 2 years ago, we helped with famine relief, so that's really relief.
Yeah.
But this was on the other end of the scale, and it spoke of dignity, it spoke of something very personal, and it was something tangible that we could really kind of wrap our arms around.
So in terms of ending homelessness from the Rescue Mission perspective, it was not only meeting the immediate need of a person that might need a warm bed tonight,
Right.
but it's moving them out of homelessness and into a place of their own, and then equipping them with whether it's financial planning skills, access to resources for potential home ownership, like you said. It's really helping them move forward with their lives. So that kind of development, since you guys got really excited about that.
Yeah, and I think too, because it's a part of the Near West Side, it's moving these people into a neighborhood. So
That's
they
right.
are part of the community.
That's right, yeah.
They are a contributing member. They can know their neighbors. They can bring them a meal when they're in need. They're part of who we are
That's
as a
exactly
community.
right. That's exactly right. That's great. And so you had some really exciting things happen at Christmas Eve. So you had 3 or 4 different services that you're running.
Right.
You're doing the collection during each one. Tell me about some of the things that stood out for you, some of the memories of that night.
Well, before we even got to that night, some people had been asking us, I'm going to be out of town. So is there a way that we could give? So we set up our online giving, and some people started to write checks because they knew, hey, I'm going to grandma's and I'm not going to be here and I do not want to miss this.
Right.
So before we even got into Christmas Eve, that weekend before, we had already raised close to $50,000 at that point.
It's incredible.
So at that point, I kind of knew it was
Something's
like,
happening
okay,
here.
something is
Yeah,
going on
that's
here.
right.
I came to the last service, and I got to be one of the people that got to pass the plate as people gave. And there were a number of college students and high school students come to that. And what really impressed me was that they came with money in their hand. So they knew what they were doing. They had done what we said. They had looked at their Christmas list. They had prepared. They were intentional about their giving. And so they had wads of cash rolled up in their hands, ready to put in that plate.
That's tremendous.
And then one mom told me about her daughter, who's 3, and she said, we've been talking about this, and Brielle got a little Ziploc bag, and she put her silver coins in there. She said, I tried to talk her into giving her dollars, and she said, no, I like the coins because they're shiny and they're pretty. And
Oh my gosh.
for her, she said they're more special
That's
to her.
right. They mean more to her.
So
right?
she filled up a little Ziploc bag with coins at 3 years old and told her mom, I want to give this to the parents and the kids who don't have a home.
That's incredible.
And that one really spoke to me, that our people had really kind of grabbed a hold of this.
That's incredible. Even the little ones
Yes.
got the idea of helping somebody else in need.
Yes. You know, we had to wait a few days because we have the people that were going to count the money were volunteers, and it was Christmas and we didn't want to call them in. But as I began to talk to some of the people that had also collected the money as I had, they said, you know, we were putting the money in those bank bags and we ran out of bank bags. We had them stuffed so full, we couldn't zip them closed. And so again, I began to feel like, oh, maybe something is happening.
That's right.
And the following Monday, the team of counters came in. They typically count for like an hour, hour and a half. And they said it took them 4 to 4.5 hours to count.
Isn't that incredible? I mean,
is.
it reminds me of the miracle of Jesus feeding the 5,000.
Yeah.
Where you just didn't know what was going to happen, but then these things start bubbling up, and you have a sense like something really special is going to happen.
Right.
And the grand total that you raised was over $143,000. So when you heard that number, I mean, what was your first reaction?
Well, I mean, I was a little speechless. There were about 2 or 3 of us in the office, and I knew it would be big. I figured we would probably hit 100,000, but when it got close to 140, I really was speechless, because that's almost twice as much as we had ever raised in the past.
That's incredible. And so
It
what
is.
that money will do, we needed $100,000 for the purchase of the property. And then, you know, we figured between $75,000 to $100,000 for the renovation of the property. So you think about the impact of this offering, it's going to cover 3/4 of the cost of the total project, which is incredible. And it's going to benefit men that are moving in, that are employed, that have worked so hard, that were homeless at one point in time, but have really pulled their life together and are moving forward. And it's going to empower them into a better tomorrow as a result of this level of giving. But even beyond that, you've since heard and seen, and there's been kind of, what's the reaction been here at Eastern Hills beyond kind of the blessing to the Rescue Mission and the men that this is going to impact and the families it'll impact? What has the impact been for the church? How have they felt?
Well, one, I think they've felt incredibly proud of themselves. They have felt good about us as a people.
Right, okay.
That we accomplished something.
You sure did, yeah.
And we own something. I know there was one gentleman who's a contractor, and he spoke to you guys about potentially getting involved with that
That's right.
remodel. So there's a lot of our folks that have contacted me too and said, you know, can I roll up my sleeves and can I go down there and put up drywall?
That's
Can I
amazing,
paint? And
yeah.
there's incredible ownership there. On Facebook, the day after we announced it, there were just countless people that were saying, you know, I am so grateful that I can say that Eastern Hills is my home, and I go to a church that cares about other people in this way, and I get to be a part of it. So they feel good that their Christmas was not just about them.
Right.
It was about something bigger than them.
Right,
And
so they received the gift
Yes.
of giving.
They really did.
And they felt the blessing of that and are continuing to try to look for other ways to still
Yes.
continue that impact. So I think it speaks a lot to whether you're a church, whether you're a school group, whatever it might be. What would your word of encouragement be to other groups that are contemplating how do we get involved with making a difference with homelessness?
I think for us, it's make it doable for your people.
Okay,
Something
good.
that they can wrap their hands around. So what's my biggest gift? Maybe it was $100. I could give 120.
Okay,
you know?
right.
And making it personal. I know you came one day and you talked about some of the homeless guys by name.
Yes.
And you told us their story. And I think when you begin to see who you're helping as somebody that you know and it's personal, it becomes a person, not a project or
That's right.
an issue. It's real people.
That's right,
And
yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things that I loved about the Rescue Mission is there's a lot of dignity. And so I would say just try it. You know, it doesn't have to be $140,000.
Right.
It can be $20.
Right.
It can be $100. It all makes a difference.
No, that's great. And thank you again, and thank Eastern Hills for this gift, because it is going to impact so many people that have worked so hard to get out of homelessness. And it's going to have a generational impact, I believe, as we see children reunited with their fathers and wives with their husbands. I think amazing things will happen as a result of this. So my encouragement again, if you are thinking about getting involved in ending homelessness, you can do that. Join the Rescue Mission in that effort. You can visit us online at rmlifechanging.org. You can follow us on Twitter at rmlifechanging, or you can follow myself on Twitter as well at allenrmsyr.org. Together we can end homelessness.